All right, this is a new video answering the 6 questions we were given for the math test. So after the first video, Gabe and I found out that some of the ways we solved the questions weren't really good. We got the answers to all the questions, but for example, for question 5 and 6, we didn't really understand how it was solved. After looking into it a little bit more, we ended up figuring out how to solve everything and I'm just making this video to explain it more succinctly. So, yeah, question 1, I'm not going to read it, but essentially, this question is in quotient form, right? So, we've got the divisor over the dividend, right? And then we got the, under here, we've got the quotient, and then we got the remainder uh, divided by the divisor, right? So, the question asks us to find P, Q, and R. So P is here, Q is here, R is here, and we just want to find the values for all of those variables. So what you're going to want to do is first you're going to want to start off with long division. So x squared plus 2x plus 1. It goes outside of your bracket. Um, yeah. And then on the inside of your bracket, you put in x to the 4 minus 3x to the 3 minus px minus 11x minus 7. Yeah, so as you do in long division, uh, you want to make it so that the first term here, uh, sorry, I mean, you want to make it so that the first term here is going to be equal to the first term here, right? So what do you multiply by x squared to get x to the 4? You multiply it by x to the 2. So we'd write that under the third term. X squared times x squared is just equal to x to the 4. So we do that. And then 2x times x squared is just plus 2x to the 3. And then 1 times x squared is just plus, uh, excuse my bad plus, x squared times 1 is just x squared. So yeah, what you're going to do then is subtract it. So the x to the 4s, they cancel out. We don't really care about them anymore. So then we want to subtract the 3x to the 3 and the 2x to the 3. And negative 3 minus 2 is just negative 5. So you write negative 5x to the 3. And then the thing about p here, subtracting it is going to be a bit different from what we did back here because it's actually a variable, right? So the first thing we need to note is that beside every x is just like an invisible 1, right? So in reality, this is actually just plus 1x squared. We just don't write it because it's assumed in math, right? So really, it would just be p minus 1x, right? So we do minus bracket p minus 1. And every time when we're doing subtraction, the variables next to the coefficients, they don't cancel out. Like for example, um, negative 3 minus 2, x to the 3. We keep the x to the 3 even after subtracting, and we're going to do that here. So it's bracket p minus 1 x squared. Oh, I forgot to add this. Forgot to add the squared here. Yeah, but it's p minus 1 x squared. Um, and then we bring down the 11x, so minus 11x. Okay, and then next what we want to do is we want to make x squared equal to 5x to the 3. And how do you do that? Uh, well, it's minus 5x. Uh, yeah, and this actually tells us about what our q variable is. So if you guys know quotient form, you'll know that the quotient here is actually going to be equal to everything here. So as you can see in the start, the x squared is the same, and qx here, the 5x also has the x there as well. So yeah, the quotient here and what we write at the top of the fraction is actually just going to be the same, right? So qx is actually just negative 5x, since they're the same, right? The thing next to the x is negative 5, which would be our q value. So we actually figured out that q is equal to negative 5. So yeah, next we're just going to continue with doing our long division. So x squared times negative 5x is negative 5x to the 3. And then 2x minus 5x is just equal to negative 10x squared. And then 1 times negative 5x is just minus 5x, right? So again, as we do in long division, we're going to subtract. The 5x to the 3 cancels out. And then the thing about we're going to subtract the p minus 1 with the 10x squared. And essentially how you're going to do that is just the same thing you did earlier. So p minus 1 minus negative 10. That's just p minus 1 plus 10, essentially, because you're subtracting a negative number. So really, you just get p plus 9 in your as your bracket here. So yeah, and then x squared minus 11 minus negative 5, that's just negative 11 plus 5, so that'll get you negative 6. Yep. And so next we are actually going to find the value of p. And we know from the quotient in the question that the value of p is just negative 3, right? And for the next step in, oh, sorry, I forgot to make this negative p plus 9. That's important. So, but anyways, we know that this just belongs at the top of the bracket here, right? So these are the same, negative 3. And as you all know, in long division, you have to multiply the first term with the term at the end of this, right? Just to find whatever term you're going to write under here, right? So basically, we do x squared times negative 3, and we get negative 3x squared. And this can actually give us the value of p as well, because as you could see from here and here, the first terms, every time we do this step in long division, the first terms are identical, right? So we want p plus 9 to actually equal negative 3. And what plus 9 makes negative 3? Spoiler alert, it's negative 12. So negative 12 plus 9 is equal to negative 3, essentially. And yeah, that's how you find p. And anyways, I'm going to erase the highlighter I put here. But yeah, and then afterwards, negative 3 times 2x. So that's minus 6. Oh, sorry, I forgot to add the x here. Minus 7. But yeah, it's minus 6x. And then 1 times negative 3 is just negative 3, right? And since these two are the same, p plus 9 and negative 3x squared, these actually cancel out. So yeah, 0. Same thing goes for the negative 6x and the negative 6x. Negative 6 minus negative 6 is 0, so those cancel out as well, leaving us with negative 7 minus negative 3, and that just gives us negative 4. And we know from quotient, uh, we know from the question that r is actually just a remainder, and we figured out from our long division that the remainder is -4. So that just means r is equal to -4. And that is how you solve question 1.